What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Kaspa today. It is the 12th day of April. Here we are sitting at about 3.2 cents with roughly 10 hours and 26 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. Let's get into it. Okay, it's been like a week or two since maybe like 2 weeks since we talked about Kaspa. I don't remember, but I was looking at the price action today, and I wanted to make some people aware that I do believe that Kaspa is going to go lower, and it's likely going to go below these lows too. Kaspa, you had a little bit of excitement here, but really just wasn't anything special. It was just another lower high in this range here. You're just lower high on lower high ever since the good old days where I was very bearish at the top, very bearish at this top as well. And we've been, there's been moments of excitement here or there, but ultimately going to the areas that we've originally forecasted back here, which, by the way, was below 2 cents. We haven't actually gone below 2 cents. I did say up here, everybody's like, why do you hate Kaspa so much? I'm like, I don't hate Kaspa. I don't hate Kaspa, guys. I want to buy Kaspa. I just don't want to buy it at 20 cents. I don't want to buy it at 10 cents. I want to buy it below 2 cents. And I think I'll get that opportunity. And there's even a chance, even a likelihood that I'll be able to buy it below these levels here, below 1 cent, maybe just below 1 cent, something like that. And I think that Kaspa could inevitably go somewhere between this low and this high here, and maybe even just a little bit lower than that. I very much do believe that's true. Typically, first and foremost, typically most cryptos in their first bull markets, they don't do this. It's crazy. It's crazy. That was like 1,000x, a multi-1,000x move. It was crazy, and it actually came from lower prices even before. This isn't the actual all-time history, but it is most of it. Crazy move. But even with that, typically, and I say that as like 99.9% of cryptos typically do in their first bear market, which this is undoubtedly Kaspa's first bear market. I remember when people were trying to tell me this was a bear market for Kaspa. No, this is a bear market. In their first bear market, cryptos typically go down about 94 to 99%, somewhere in that range. Right now, this low, and we are not counting the October 10th low, although we might inevitably go there. Isn't that a coincidence right there? Right now, we're only down 88%. That should tell you already we have lower to go. At least like 91%, at least somewhere down here, but that would take us below 2 cents, and this is where the original call came from, was this ideology, this belief, this occurrence that I've noticed in my 10.5 years of doing technical analysis now with crypto, that in the first bear market of any crypto, you see a 94+% drop, at least something that's more than a 90% drop. So 91% here would take us just below 2 cents. We come all the way down here. This is coincidentally right there with our low, also a 94% drop, and then right here this would put us at about a 95% drop. It's a huge difference there. And 94% to 95%, that's just 1% overall, but from 1.2 cents to 0.0097, it's over a 10% difference there, right? That's like, how much of a difference is it? It's like a 20% difference. Yeah, it's like a 20% difference there. So 1% from overall is 20%. It compounds as you move down. It's kind of crazy how that happens. Anyways, we could go lower. Absolutely, we could go lower. Kaspa is not absolved of the horrid fate that some of these cryptos get, which is a 99% drop. We could see, and look at how much further away at 99, we're barely at 99 right there. How much further away that is. Now, I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe that there's going to be massive, massive buying anywhere and everywhere within this range here. If we go lower, I really highly doubt that we go all the way down here, but it's just something to consider nonetheless. But from where we are now, you can see we are clearly miles away from that. And I doubt Kaspa just moves down there like this. It's probably going to keep this path. It's probably going to keep this lower high, lower low path. You could come up higher and still, just like slowly whittle your way down. And it's probably going to be the end of this year, the end of 2026, if not the beginning of 2027, that you get down here. Now, the way I drew this, it's very symmetrical, but the bear market typically ends with a bang, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, you find support, you're doing your thing, you're working your way down, and then at some point you get a sudden crash down, a sudden shift down, but more or less it will still follow this trajectory. And I really do believe by the end of the year, if not early 2027, we will see prices that are around, if not even below 1 cent, at least at a minimum below 2 cents. We're at 3.2 cents now. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I want to buy Kaspa, and I'm going to buy Kaspa. It will be probably a dominant part of my portfolio going into the next bull run. But I'm not buying here. Patience, my friends. Patience. Patience, patience, patience. Do we have any... I mean, it's very clear. This was a large distributive phase, right? Very, very clear. That power law, guys. Those power law bros really went out the window. All those... Man, I've got so much to say about the power law bros for Kaspa, but that's okay, man. That's okay. We could talk about this some other time. Let's get into the daily time frame. You know my outlook for the long term, so if you're still here, let's get into the short term stuff, okay? The daily time frame. You can see these lows here. We connect the dots. You've clearly broken out of these lows, and what'd you do? You actually back tested that trend line and found resistance. But that's not the only area of significance that you back tested for resistance, is it? You found resistance right here, right where you found support before, and you found resistance before. It's kind of like an apex of resistance, and you did reject. If you have hopes that, oh, I still have higher lows, normally I would hear that. This is actually a really good time to buy, normally. Unless you do stuff like this, where you're finding resistance at prior support levels, which is exactly what you're doing. You're probably going to go lower, and not just lower, but below these lows inevitably. And we can actually take this, we can take Kaspa, take this low here to this high, and forecast our extensions down here. And if we put this on the back burner, and we take a low to high here, that was not the low, but let's get it there, hold on, low right here to a high, the 1618 is exactly where you found support here, the 1618. We take this low here, we put it at this low to this high. Oh, that's not the high. Let's get it right on there to that high there. Where do we find support? Wow, what a coincidence. You found support basically right there at the 1618. You wicked a little bit through it, but still, right at the 1618. You actually found support here like 3 different times right around this 1618. You do like that level, it seems. And that's a pretty significant pivot there. What about here? What did we do here? If we take this pivot, let's see, from a low to a high right there, you found support. You did find support at the 1618. Went a little bit lower to the 1886200 level. You do like this zone, don't you? You really do like this zone. And then you found support. You moved up from your 1618200 level all the way back up to your 1618, or your golden ratio, your 618 up here. Pretty interesting stuff. Is there any more of this? No, that's a distributive phase. So, yeah. With that in mind, my friends, where is the 1618 to 200 level here? You could find support here at this line, and you might find a little bit of support at these levels, but inevitably your next low area might be there, right? And then everybody's going to get excited that you're breaking out. Really, you're just finding resistance at prior support. Does that sound familiar? Because that's exactly what you did here. If we look at this here with our handy dandy fib tools from a low to a high, my expectation is that, well, 2 cents and below is coming in hot, my friends. It is coming in hot. I don't think that you'll see this overnight, but overall we're forecasting anything from a 42% drop to a 53% drop, and likely this happens over the coming months. This will probably, if I had to guess, you'll probably see something in this zone by the end of summer. It won't be like this. It won't be a quick drop. There might be a moment where it is fast, right? But even here, just imagine, right? You're probably right now, like where you are here, you're like equivalent to this, and maybe even like this part here, where you've broken out, you kind of came back down. You might be like equivalent to like this part here. We could still from here move up a little bit, It doesn't have to be like a straight shot down, and then we meander, and then eventually you shift, right? I mean, maybe not even by the end of the summer. This could happen by the end of May at this rate. I don't know. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I do think that sometime in, let's say, May, June, July, maybe August at the latest, we're down here in this area. And the way that I have it drawn, if we do pick up the pace, would be, sometime in mid-May to late June. But it could again take more time. It could could be a longer process than that, and then a sudden shift down to this area, whatever. It could be July or August. But yeah, you look like you're working your way down. One thing that I believe, regardless of the timing, because timing is the hardest to get, we likely do see prices around 1.8 to 1.5 cents from here. Yeah. Yep, over the long term. So that's kind of nice. I wonder, I'm going to look real quick just what the funding rate is for Kaspa on these on this DEX that I'm using here. I want to just see. Because knowing that, I mean, if you have a good enough funding rate, that actually might be worth holding like a long-term trade. But the funding rate, it's variable. The funding rate changes. I just want to see real quick. Oh, they don't have KAS on this one. I can't even short KAS if I wanted to. Well, that's okay. Just wasn't meant to be. Anyways, looking at the daily time frame, yeah, the daily RSI actually looks good. The daily RSI doesn't look half bad here, to be completely fair. And again, maybe you do, even though you found resistance here, maybe you do come back up a little bit, and then you move lower. You know, maybe you move lower here, and then you move up. Like it doesn't have to be this straight shot down. You are finding resistance in your overbought area. You went from being overbought to rejecting it. So overall, I do think you're working your way down to the oversold zone. But overall, you look all right. Stochastics finding resistance at the 50. Building bearish momentum now as you're crossing the 0. Yeah, the bearish signs are coming out in the stochastics and the MACD. The RSI finding resistance here, I guess, is bearish too. You're finding that the price action is really the bearish thing. You're finding resistance at prior resistance points here and here. Lower it is, guys. Lower it is. I don't think we get above 3.4 cents or 3.5 cents, let's say. I don't think you get above 3.5 cents again this year. Yeah. Weekly time frame here. The weekly RSI, very bearish. Very bearish, my friends. We identified this long ago, didn't we? This was half the reason why we were bearish. We were so hesitant. Everyone was calling for $5 Kaspa, $50 Kaspa. It's going to break above $1 next week. And we were like, hold on now, you guys. Look at this. I hear that, but now hear this. We've got a downtrend forming after, and you're rounding off your top. And then people would say, study Kaspa. You clearly don't know anything about Kaspa. You don't know anything about the power law. Man, I told you guys from the start, this thing was never in a power law. How can you establish long-term fundamental technicals like that in just one cycle? That doesn't work. You need multiple cycles to establish that. I was like, I'm willing to say that it's in power law. Let's just see how it handles its bear market. And the way it's handled it so far, the reality is you still could be in a power law. You really could, or you could have some type of power law be in a power law. You could have some type of power law playing out here. But we don't know the dynamics of that, and we certainly aren't going to know that in the first 2 years of anything's existence. That's just crazy cockamamie. Weekly stuff, weekly RSI, clearly bearish. Clearly bearish. Super mega bearish, you guys. Deathly bearish. You are going to see lower readings in the RSI. You are. Absolutely you are. The stochastics. Yeah, stochastics are bearish too. Kind of wish-washy here. You've been sideways, so that's kind of fair. And the MACD is bearish overall as well. Not getting too excited on that. This is the strongest readings on the histograms you've had since, well, really, I mean, since like July of 2025. So in like almost a year. You haven't done much with that. Bearish, I wouldn't be surprised at all if your bear market came to an end when your oscillators were down here where they were before. I wouldn't be surprised. That typically is how it happens, but I digress. I've got really nothing else to say. The outlook is bleak for Kaspa in the short term. I do expect you have lower to go, and it's definitely bleak over the entirety of the rest of this year, I would say. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I can't wait to buy. I don't hate Kaspa. I think it's a great project. I think it's got a lot going for it, and I think it's going to be a serious contender in the next bull market. I do believe from here, we look at this on a weekly time frame, I do believe Kaspa will see new all-time highs. I do very much believe that. And the thing is, if you think about it properly, right, imagine Kaspa does go below 1 cent. But you don't buy it there. Let's say you buy it at 1.8 cent, which I'm very confident we at least go there, but I really do think at this point that we will go around, if not just below 1 cent for the bear market low. Let's say you catch it at 1.8 cent. You go up to the all-time highs, that's an 11x right there. If we see from a high, let's imagine that's the low and we don't go lower. If you look at this line, it's at 40 cents. If I pull this line down, that line only goes up, so this will give it a conservative estimate. If we go up to the 1618 here, it's about a 50x move. That puts you at about 92 cents. I believe Kaspa could see a multi-dollar price by the end of this next cycle. Be worth over $100 billion in market cap. Yeah, I think it can. Maybe even hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll see. That would put it at, I really do think this thing has the potential to be a serious contender. That'd put it at a multi-dollar price, and you would have well over 100x at that rate. But I think if you bide your time, if you play it right, I mean, there's no reason why. Oops. Let's see. There's no reason why you couldn't snag it closer to 1 cent, 1.2 cent, or below. And then that same area around $1.90 to $2 would provide like 160 to a 200x. Anyways, I digress. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. What would the price? I'm actually curious. If you want to stick around, you can. I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm going to see what the price would be, or what the market cap would be if the price went to these levels. While we're doing that, I just want to see here. Oh wow, that's nice. La-di-da-di. Let's see here. Come on, Kaspa. So the market cap right now is 880 million. Let's just say 880 million. We'll round up because also as time goes on, more Kaspa gets released, right? There's more Kaspa that's minted. So let's just say 880 million to make the math easy, okay? 800 and what is this? What does that have? What is that? Crescendo hard fork. Oh, I had no idea. I'm out of the loop. Anyways, $877 million. Let's say 880 at this current price. 880 million. If we came up here, a 10x would be 8.8 billion. A 50x, so you do 5x from there. That would be about 50 million. Wait. Yeah, it would be about a $45 billion market cap, maybe a little bit more than that. About 50. I think I had it right. 50 billion. Yeah, I mean, this wouldn't even put you at $100 billion. You could definitely see this. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very confident in that. Yeah, let alone double that or even more than that. I mean, you could see some crazy stuff, guys, next cycle. You really, really could. I mean, like, we could see a Kaspa that's above $10 by the end of the next cycle. But I would expect you're at like a multi-dollar level at a bare minimum. And I mean, with that, just imagine you were to buy this down at 1.2 cents. Imagine in my crazy streams that we actually go below even 1 cent. 1.2 cents. If we go up to $5 or more, you're talking about a multi 100x, even a potential for another 1000x, like crazy stuff. Because I think Kaspa can, in its second bull market, see a $100 billion market cap or more. I really do. That's a ways away. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. That last part was kind of fun. It's fun to talk about good stuff, right? It's fun to have a little light at the end of the tunnel. And I mean, even at its worst case scenario, let's say Kaspa was a big flop, you'll probably get some type of double top and be able to wash your hands clean anyways, But I don't think it's going to happen. I'm really going to end the video now. It's gone on too long. Take care. Bye-bye.